1914. Rumors of the Russians bringing Asian soldiers, the hordes of wild equestrians with wings on their back, as they scooped up and ate babies. They were hardly humans. Europeans have never seen the Russian secret weapon before. The Germans and the Austrians called them the devils in bushy hats. The Russians called them the eagles of Kasbah. But they were the people of the Caucasus. They were the Wild Division. 1915. A group of Chechens from the Wild Division are encircled and surely trapped by the Germans and Austro-Hungarians. They were happy. They have never been this close to the Wild Division before. They sent a runner. As they looked down, the runner came back with Die Führer der Chechenians in Volna is Gibert Kin Ort der Habingia in Sinia Spasha, he said, which meant the leader of the Chechenians is lost. There's no word in surrender in his language. Then he said, we will take off our straps and give you our firearms and marry the Germans. He laughed, but the Chechens were now infuriated as they wanted to kill the messenger. The people of the Caucasus, especially the Highlanders, never surrender. It is said if you survive an attack from the Wild Division, you are blessed. And a man who was blessed was Joseph Tito, who was fighting for the Austro-Hungarians. Even after 60 years, he remembers that day very fondly. He said, before we knew it, Carinthian horsemen flew at us as they got off their horses and attacked us with pikes. One of them attacked me with a 2-meter-long pole. I repelled it, but immediately received a smashing hit from the back. When I turned around, I saw a horrible face of another Chechny who was piercing with black eyes shining behind his eyebrows. The Germans and the Austrians are caught off guard by this weapon of the East from the Central East, barbaric warfare. Things were much different on the Western Front. Sure, it was hell, but on the Eastern Front with the Wild Division, it was an inferno. They played by the Asian rules. There was no rules. Germans called them, of course, racially the Yellow People, but the Austrians actually gave them the name, the Wild Division. But who were the Wild Division? They were Cossacks on steroids. Some Cossacks did come from the Caucasus, but this group was made up of Chechens, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, all the Stan countries and other Central Asian republics. They started fighting in the volunteer regiment of the Karabadinia division. A few days after Russia declared war on the Central Powers, the Karaban elders called up for local men of the villages to make their own divisions for the Russian army. It quickly snowballed as Armenians, the Stan countries, Chechens, Cossacks, Tatars, everyone from Central Asians, even the Mongolians, made and joined the ranks. The Central Asian countries had a lot of autonomy, so they weren't forced like other colonial powers would be. Tsar Nicholas and Prince Voronezh Dashkov approached this matter very wisely. The Tsar then wasn't very angelical as you thought. Maybe it was, but the psychological aspect was that the independent divisions and making the commander-in-chief, Mikolai, the brother of Tsar Nicholas, was the biggest honor in the Cossack tradition. So they would fight for Mikolai anyway, so it was a smart way of getting all the Caucasus people on the one roof fighting for your empire. Soon after this, the Russian press started to go with the name Wild Division. Well, not really Wild Division, the Wild Equestrians. They were made up of Kubanians, Dastinians, Chechenians, Tatars, the Ingust of the Kyrgyz, the Highlanders, born to be warriors with the sword and shashkas in hand, but they were poor at shooting guns, disorganized and hardly spoke Russian. They had to be learned to be organized and relearn how to ride horses with cavalry carbines and learn how to cooperate on the battlefield. They had their first fight with the Germans. They were in surprise and in dismay. They followed their enemies until their horses were stuck in the mud, screaming and whooping as they went. Mikolai was always at the front, so people won't call him a coward for his high-ranking name, and men were ready to die for him at the whim. One of the division's legendary commanders was Grigory Kebarov. With only 100 men, managed to find and kill the Chechen Azbek, Zamilian Karvinikotchev. They promised to get revenge, but oddly enough, the Azbeks were assigned on the Kibarov. The Wild Division never changed, as it had to stop the temptation of stealing and looting through towns and cities. There was once a report. I heard screaming. I went to see what the screaming was about. A local Wild Division member said, I just crashed the window, and I've not even stolen anything yet, and they're already screaming. The commanders saw that they needed to learn discipline. The biggest punishment of the Wild Division was actually being dismissed from the division Yet some went back home with replacements for their army regiments somehow. An officer woke up a Wild Division soldier. He woke up and said in broken Russian, "Jeszcze zajbushkia boriskat, yamashkinia polyonia bodbuda splat," which meant, "If you are scared, stay awake. I am a man. I will sleep." They were very unique, as they had very unique laws and rules within the division themselves. They were mostly comprised of Muslim, no ham, no beef, no drunken wine. They had a muha, who would pray and held the Quran in his hand for daily prayers. They were irreplaceable, and the munition shortages of 1915 made a report of the 1915 state over 360 men dead, 150 men with daggers alone. As the winter set in, they were terrible at shooting, as they would rather stay under the bullets of the enemy fire than stand below the ground, in the trenches. The trenches below the ground was for a dead man. We were not dead. The Chechens crossed the Dniester River, where 250 Austrians waited, even creating a breakthrough movement for the Russians. The Russians replaced the snake being killed by a man and replaced it with the 1844 with the Romanov double eagle. With the Wild Division, they demanded the snake with the man killing the snake and no birdie. Medals had to be earned, and they were often sent on the hardest spots to attack or defend. It got so bad that the Germans had to use the Iron Division, the crack pre-stormtroopers that scared the British and the French on the Western Front. But the Germans were now scared as the Wild Division rushed towards the German, as a survivor notes. Der blinde Reste kam Monthénia gastinele kret, uf anschora Stugenenberg zo, Alakensa, vor in hela allen wall mulas, mit Koranens, in hela hadden und Gottsre, as den dit rucken, safile alles presen. It said, the pictures of equestrians rushed towards our trenches at high speeds. Terrifying ahead of them were the mullahs with Qurans in their hands and the rifles on their backs. They were screaming the praises of Allah. In an hour and a half, the pride of the Kaiser's army was gone. In 1917, the Russians started the Russian retreat of the Eastern Front, as they started to leave behind a trail of looting, raping, and killing. The Russians of 1917 were put into discipline as the Cossacks shored up the line, and the Wild Division was not too far behind. And when a Russian soldier or a Russian civilian saw a Cossack or Wild Division member, discipline was assured. It failed, and the Kerensky and the Kornilov offensive failed, and the Bolsheviks started to destroy Russia from inside out. They killed train drivers, stopped trains, established the Socialist Republic of the Caucasus, and started the fighting of ethnic groups, the Czechs, the Russians, the Tatars, the Uzbeks, even the Armenians, so to divide and stop the most effective military force in the world, the Wild Division. The last known conflict against the Cossacks and the Wild Divisions, as they actually attacked the oil cities of Grozny, as they blew up oil pipelines and bridges, as they fought until no man stand. They did fail to take the city of Grozny, however, but the Soviets had to deal with a lack of oil and fire burning for years, as Grozny was burned to the ground by the oil fields. And after 5 years of fighting together, the Wild Divisions, made up of Chechens, Uzbeks, Azerbaijanis, Dastan countries, Cossacks, Tatars, and others. Some sided with the Bolsheviks, some sided with the White Army. But one thing stands: they did fight together for the same cause for 5 years, the Wild Division. Alright guys, this is the second last video of the year. I hope you enjoyed. Really put some passion into it. That's pretty good. I see 20 minutes, but I had to stop, actually get some translating going on, so that translation was in real time, so please excuse the poor translations for some of them, but they were mostly good. Even though I have not done a lot of German Pacific stuff, German is pretty good, so you know when the German season is on, you know, you know, I'll be talking fluent German like I was born in East Berlin, man. I'll be talking so much socialist German. But anyway, hope you like it, and I'm gonna do something weird, something interesting, and well, I guess the top 10 video would kind of go up. Yeah, spoil it. It will go up before this video anyway, because it's gonna be like one take, like boom, right on the thing, because it's kind of a live, you know, it's not super edited or super scripted, so it's just gonna be bum. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you learned something. If you like, I might start doing some call to actions, but in the new year. So learn something, my dudes, and subscribe and like if you gotten this far. Pretty sure it's about 10 minutes, so come on. I see 20 minutes here, but it's probably like 10-11 minutes. But learn something, my dudes and dudettes.